it comes. Oh my goodness. In your life have you seen anything like that? There it is. A win for the ancients. Is it his time?
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Putting It Straight podcast, the podcast where we talk about everything golf. I'm your host, Matthew Filsend, and as always, I'm joined by my brilliant co-hosts, Simon Dainter and Tom Palmer. On this week's episode, we'll be looking back at last week's Honda Classic. We'll be addressing the issue of slow play. We'll be looking at a swing review, and we will also be looking forward to this week's WGC Dell World Match Play. Lads, how are we doing? You okay?
Yeah,
and now you managed to get your words out, mate.
My God, that was intense. What was that? Take 8?
I think it was take 8.
I think so, something like that. It's definitely one for the blooper reel, guys. I'd watch out for that.
God.
I think that headband's
well.
I think that headband's too tight, bro.
This is what I was about to say. We can't move on.
You're gonna have to ditch it. It's cursed me. It's cursed me. It's gonna have to go. It's gonna have to go.
No blood.
Dear me.
I know you love Jack
God,
Grealish,
that was
but
painful.
sheesh.
That was bad. That was bad. On a better note, before we get into anything, Simon, we need to congratulate you. This week you were announced as the PGA Year 1 Assistant of the Year.
Yes, I was. Yeah, it's taken me a little bit by surprise. I didn't think they were going to do it with the circumstances, COVID and stuff like that. But yeah, it's really, really good news.
Yeah.
I'm proud, to be honest. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I hear Tom's got a nice nickname for that award.
I'm not saying anything, but I mean, I tell you what, Geek of the Year, Assistant of the Year, both a great achievement, aren't they?
Mate, Geek, if only I could
good.
play golf, I'd be absolutely lethal, bro.
I've seen you play. You're not too bad. You'll get there.
Yeah, much improvement needed. Definitely, I'll come for a lesson.
Sounds good. Well, look, let's get straight into it. Honda Classic from this week. Really interesting event again. Golf course was tough. It's one of the toughest that they play on all year, and it really showed its teeth, particularly on Sunday. And I think Friday it was pretty tough as well. I think I saw a stat over 250 balls in the water over the course of the week.
Yeah, that's insane.
But we had Matt Jones from Australia come out on top. Opened up with an incredible 61 on Thursday, which you don't normally see around that golf course.
Yeah.
And ended up winning by 5 strokes, I think, in the end. Which,
5 in the
if
end.
I'm right in saying, his first win in 7 years since the 2014 Houston Open. So he was a bit emotional at the end.
He was emotional. Yeah, he was. It was nice to see though. Like it's like last week with JT winning. It's just nice to see like they're genuine guys. Like you can almost relate to them in the interviews afterwards when they're getting emotional and talking about things. It was really, really nice to see. And he's a nice player to watch as well. He's quick and he doesn't sort of mess about over the ball. He plays his golf and he plays the way that he wants to play as well, predominantly hitting a draw around there. It was really, really nice to watch. Enjoyed it.
Yeah. And Tom, it's important to mention it's refreshing to watch a touring professional play so quickly.
Yeah,
you don't normally get to see that. There are a lot of pros that are quite slow, but Matt Jones is seriously quick, isn't he?
Yeah. Obviously, we were talking a bit early, weren't we, about slow play and stuff like that as well. And obviously, it sort of ruins the game a little bit for me. Obviously, when you're trying to watch something, it's just slowing it down and making it a bit more tedious to watch, isn't it? I think when you're watching the golf as well, you don't want to be thinking, oh, got to wait 4 minutes for him to play his shot, or do you know what I mean, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think it just speeds up play, and I think that's obviously really important.
100%. Yeah, definitely. It's awkward to watch at times as well. It sort of just puts you off from watching when they're taking so long over the ball. It's it just puts you off. When Matt Jones is going in there and just firing away, it
Yeah.
makes you want to carry on watching and watch him play golf.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And I think with that grouping as well on Sunday, it became so much more evident because you'd got Matt Jones and JB Holmes playing together. So you'd got probably the quickest guy on tour playing with the slowest guy on tour. And it just stood out a mile. And the commentators were going nuts over it, because I think that the most frustrating thing, and obviously we've got this as our main topic this week, but to touch on it now, I think Phil Mickelson's old caddy, who is obviously commentating now, was saying he doesn't actually start preparing for his shot until his playing partner has played.
Yeah.
So it's all that extra time. And then when he does get to it, he takes even more time as well. So it's almost a kind of a double whammy, really. It's so poor from a professional standard to see that. Definitely needs addressing. So we'll get into that in our...
Yeah, it's a shame as well, because it sort of detracts from his win a little bit, because it seems like everything's been looking at slow play and they haven't actually really talked too much about him winning and stuff. So it takes it away from him a little bit.
It does. But if we dive into our results from the predictions, Simon,
I'm surprised you waited a long time. You've waited a long time to get that in. I can tell that you've been pacing yourself, because you must have been so excited.
Matt?
I got 8. Russell Henley came through.
Wasn't that the same amount of takes? Wasn't that the same amount of takes it took tonight to do the intro?
Right, I'm gone. I'm done.
Set himself up for that, didn't he? I'll tell you what.
He really did.
Oh wow.
Fair
play. That was good. I enjoyed that. Honestly, I'm gutted. I think every week has been one take. Last week might have been 2, and then I don't know what happened this week.
Don't worry
I could
about it,
not
mate.
get my words out.
It does happen when you got restricted blood to the brain, to be fair, mate. Right, let's get into it. So you are on top. This is the first week, by the way, that we haven't had a winner picked out. Yeah, it was came a little bit out of left field. I think he hadn't shown too much form. Went in under the radar a little bit.
No.
But nice to see him win anyway. So no winner this week. You are on top with Russell Henley, scored you 8 points. Very, very good pick. We gave you a little bit last week, didn't we, about it? You
did give me a little bit about it. You were skeptical about my logic.
Yeah, I was glad to see it come through. Really. I was actually in second with Sung Jae Im. He had a very strong performance. What did you expect? All the homework that I put into my picks. And I think one other person picked Sung Jae as well. There was a lot of -5s on there. A lot of players missing the cut, like you said, a very tough test. But yeah, some good scores. If we go overall for our leaderboard now, still Julie Deakin on top. She managed to get a couple of points this week and just sneak ahead. Andrew Cameron's moved up to 19 points. Tied second with Dale Housden, and Victoria Mallet had a good week as well. Liz Mallet in there at third with 18. So it's all very, very tight. I mean, there's 3 points in between the top sort of 4 or 5 people. And it's looking good. Between us now, you have absolutely romped into the lead, Matt. You are now on 15 points, working your way up the leaderboard. I've leapfrogged over Tom. Nice. I've got 9 points now after a good day at the office, and he's on 7 with Alex Noren.
I'm just happy to be in positives, I am.
I mean, you did really, really well. And we've got to say, obviously, you picked Daniel Berger. He didn't play. He withdrew. It was before the tournament. You don't deserve a -5 for that. And that's just
thanks,
silly, isn't it?
Thanks, mate.
Yeah. So
obviously, I picked Noren before he started playing. I mean, he didn't do any good, but I picked him anyway. I showed the faith. He hadn't teed off at the time, so it was only fair.
It's fair, mate. Right. It's fair. I can't give you -5 for that.
Cheers, mate.
There's 2 things here, right? Because we talked about it on our group chat. Initially I weren't happy, because when this happened to me, you were all for giving me -5. Then
it was
as soon as it happens to Tom, it's like, oh, don't worry. You can pick somebody else. It's fine. And actually, when he picked Noren, he'd already played 3 holes and he was 1 under through 3.
We knew that Noren wasn't going to win, but at the same time,
unbelievable.
I picked him, so I had a player. And all those other people that didn't manage to get a pick, same as me. I think Elizabeth Mallet as well. She had Noren in the end because of the same situation. So it's only fair for all the viewers out there as well. I'm just looking after everyone.
Yeah, you're a good guy. You deserve it.
I think
You deserve it.
we're going to have to replace my
Eight
title
take Matt at the
with,
top.
with
Eight take
over to you.
Oh,
No, we're moving the Patrick Reed of podcast over to you, Tom.
Cheers, mate. Cheers.
I'm not
that
not
will
happy.
always be your
I'm
title.
not happy.
Eight take.
Eight take Matt. Yeah.
Double standards. Unbelievable. Right. Well, look, let's. It's an interesting topic. Our main topic this week. Slow play, not just at the professional level, at golf club level as well, can be a real issue. Obviously, it seemed perfect to bring up this week after all the comments surrounding JB Holmes from the weekend. Like I said, a lot of commentators and a lot of golfers as well, really kind of slamming him for how slow he is. I
mean, he's got previous as well. He's got some serious previous. He's been under the.
He has got previous. He affected your favourite golfer, didn't he, Tom?
He did, didn't he? It was that 18th hole as well, wasn't it? It took ages to play that shot. What comp was that at?
That was the Farmers Insurance Open at Torrey Pines.
How long?
Is that right?
4 minutes to play a shot?
Yeah,
4 minutes.
Norris tournament that did.
4 minutes to play a golf shot. Quite. No wonder you're so salty about it. He's your best friend, old Alex Noren is.
I tell you what, it ruined his game, that did. 4 minutes. What are you going to do for 4 minutes while you stand there and watch someone play a shot, though? Imagine standing there for 4 minutes while someone plays a shot.
That is a long time.
Breaking the rules, surely.
It's got.
Well, I think at the professional level, I think it is a real issue because when you see things like that, and let's be fair, JB Holmes isn't the only golfer that is slow.
No.
But it seems to me that rules officials are so reluctant to actually penalise players for slow play. How often do you see it?
Yeah,
I think I can only remember
getting a few shots added on here and there.
Yeah,
there's not many. Yeah. The last one I remember was. Do you remember when that 14-year-old?
I was just thinking about that.
Masters?
I was just thinking about that. That's the same thing that I was thinking about. Yeah, I remember that.
Can't remember his name, and they penalised him in the Masters, and it was like, of all the people, you've picked a 14-year-old and penalised him in his first Masters, when for weeks and weeks, month after month, there's been other players at the top of the game playing slowly, and they've done nothing about it. But it's easy to make an example of someone like that, and I think for us watching at home, that has got to be one of the main questions: is why aren't the rules officials doing more? But I mean, for you two, Simon, I'll come to you first. Obviously, we've all played with slow players, but what effect does it have on your game when you're playing with somebody slow?
I think that for me, it just shifts my focus. Like you've seen, I mean, there's loads of clips online. I think there's a famous one of Bryson taking 2 minutes to hit an 8-foot putt, and he's playing with JT, and you can see JT getting agitated, and it just shifts your focus away from what you're trying to do, and you just start thinking about what they're actually doing, and then that all of a sudden you're looking at their game and you're not thinking about what you're supposed to be doing, and it just falls away. So I think that's the main thing for me. Like, it's annoying and it gets your attention from where it's supposed to be. So it's tough to play in, very, very tough to play in. And like you said, like on 18 with JB Holmes and Alex Noren, it's tough. I understand it's the last hole of a tournament, but 4 minutes to hit a golf shot. I mean, you can do a lot in 4 minutes. I've heard that you can do things twice in 4 minutes, Matt, but it's, but it's a long old time. It is a long old time to hit a golf shot.
Wow.
I'm so sorry.
Taking a hammering tonight. Wow.
You wore a headband, mate. This was coming.
I was asking for it.
God. What about yourself, Tom? How does it tend to affect your game when you play with a slow player?
I'm quite quick anyway. I think I'm quite quick anyway. Obviously, when I play, I just want to play golf and get on with it. I'm not standing around for 2-3 minutes looking over a shot. I'd rather just you're going to play your shot, and so just play it, and then obviously waiting for somebody else to play their shot for so long, it just gets boring. You got to imagine how long a round of golf is as it is. If you're playing with someone that's taking that long as well, the round of golf's going to be going on for 5.5 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't. A 5.5 hour round is just ridiculous. Do you know what I mean? Like everyone going out there, golf takes long enough anyway as it is. Do you know what I mean? Everyone says how long it takes to play golf, and it does. Do you know what I mean? 4.5 hours for a round of golf. But if someone's been even slower, that's backing you up. It's backing the group behind up, the group behind them up. And it has a backlog on every single player. So if it's taking you 5.5 hours to play a round of golf, for me, that's way too long. By that time, then I'm bored. Do you know what I mean? I've sort of got to the point where I'm like, I can't wait to come off the course now.
Do you feel like when someone's playing slow in your group that you have to play quicker for the group behind?
Yeah, because you're trying to catch the time up almost.
Yeah.
You almost feel like you've got a responsibility to try and improve the pace of play of the group, which is not fair, really. And obviously, you should be thinking, well, no, I'm going to play my game, play to my pace, do what I can. But you almost end up with this pressure to feel like you've got to take on the responsibility of the group and play so quick to compensate for your playing partner's slow play, which, like you say, it has a detrimental effect on your own game. But I do wonder what the benefit is for the person that is playing slow. What benefit does that have to their game? Because, and this was really interesting because obviously JB Holmes, I think, has been in 4 or 5 final groups on a Sunday, and his stats are awful for final round.
You could be overthinking things though, can't you? Do you know what I mean? If you're taking all that time to have a look at the putt and then you're going, oh, I'm not sure about this, or do you know what I mean? If you're taking 4 minutes to play a shot, what do you know what I mean? You're already getting into your head.
I think that shows, mate. I think that shows in his score. What did he shoot? 79 or something like that? He shot 9 over, didn't he?
Yeah, 79.
Yeah, so I think that shows in his score. It's all in his head. Like, he clearly wasn't comfortable, but it shouldn't be taking that long. And like you say, there is time that he can make up there because he can get his preparations ready while the other person's taking his shot.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so it's not as if it's something that he's just struggling, like I think straight away about Kevin Na. I don't know whether you remember when he couldn't hit the ball, he just got that mental block. He'd almost got like full swing yips. So it's not as if it's something like that. It's something that he can actually address and do and make up time without having to change anything about his pre-shot routine, just the time that he starts it.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think when he does finally make his mind up and he gets over the ball, he's not that slow. Like when it comes to pulling the trigger, but everything before that is painful. But I think it's important to touch on as well. This isn't just a problem at professional level. Obviously, we all work in pro shops, and on a Saturday medal, you can bet that somewhere in that first kind of hour and a half of tee times, there'll be a really slow group. And then by the time you've got the 10 o'clock groups that have teed off coming in, they're like, oh, it's taken 5.25 hours to know what's going on. And
I do agree with that. I do agree. But at the same time, I also think that people are always like, do you know what I mean? People will try and rush around at the same time. Do you know what I mean? Like there'll be groups that are almost racing to get back in. And do you know what I mean? It's who can play golf the quickest. Or, I mean, I don't like the fact you're sort of looking over your shoulder sometimes, constantly, and worrying about are you at the right pace? Or, do you know what I mean? You want to be enjoying your game of golf. At the same time, it's not a race, but at the same time, it's, do you know what I mean? I'm trying to get to the point where it's like, it doesn't have to be super quick, but it doesn't have to be super slow. Just to relax rather than worry about what people are thinking as well. I don't know. I think it's a fine line.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from because that's happened a few times. It's almost like I don't want to say like a status thing, but people are celebrated for being able to play golf in the quickest time possible. And I understand what people are trying to say and getting around the course quicker and not holding people up. But if you're getting to the point where you're rushing and you're actually trying to rush other people in front of you, then what's the point?
Especially amateur golf, because I remember playing and some of the guys that I used to play with, they weren't the greatest. And obviously we joined like a proper club and it was almost like we go out in a competition, but because they've like lost the ball and they're having some time to look for the ball or something like that, you're almost going a little bit slower and you might have lost a hole or something like that. But at the end of the day, I feel like they're really worried about the fact that we're holding up the play. Do you know what I mean? It almost takes away the enjoyment of playing the game because you're that worried that the group behind might be thinking, come on, what they're doing, not hurry up. Do you know what I mean? So it's tricky, isn't it? I think that's obviously, I don't want us to say like, oh, slow play is terrible, but at the same time, it's the way that we're putting it into context in terms of this is like the professional level where they're taking super long over a shot. It's not the fact it's amateur level where slow play could happen because you've lost a ball or something like that.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
More the fact of these are elite level players that are taking a long time over the ball rather than looking for it. It's over it.
Yeah, very well said, mate. Good point.
Yeah, I think you bang on, Tom. You've really put that really well. It is a fine line. It's a bit of a balancing act, and I think every golf club does have players that, like you say, they love to play quick, and it is, as you said, Tom, it's almost celebrated how quickly they play. And equally, there are some players who I think you tend to find it with perhaps people that are maybe slightly newer to the game sometimes.
Probably
that
like
they don't quite
almost,
so they don't quite, they've not built up that awareness and the etiquette side of things in terms of calling a group through when they're looking for a ball and little things like that. And that's not to say that they're doing it on purpose and they should be called out for it. I think it's more, I think golf clubs sometimes have a responsibility to educate those people to say, look, we understand you're going to lose golf balls. We understand you're going to hit bad shots, but these are the things that you can do to make sure that you are as quick as you can be. So things like ready golf. So being ready to play your shot when it's your turn, or even when you get onto the tee, rather than the person whose honor it is going first, if somebody else is ready, look, just crack on. And little things like that can really help to, and you know, it's knocking a few minutes off a round of golf, which it sounds quite trivial, but it can become a problem at times. So you're right, it is a fine line.
That knocking a few minutes off. That knocking a few minutes off, though, you say it sounds trivial, but for beginners and people who are just playing golf, when they are looking for balls on a lot of the holes and they feel like they're having to rush, Tom's absolutely right. It's taking away the enjoyment for them. And that's not what should be happening. So if you can try and make up the time that they're spending, you know, looking for balls, because it's going to happen if you're a beginner. You know, you're not going to hit every single fairway. You're not at the standard that elite players are at. If you can knock those few minutes off, maybe it will take the pressure off them and maybe they'll enjoy it more and maybe they'll carry on. So it's really, really important that these things are in place.
I think it's almost as well, when you've got to let that group through, especially if you are newer and stuff, it's almost like, well, if I let them through, there's a group behind them. Do you know what I mean? And you're you let them through, and then the group behind them are like, well, what's going on here? Like, why are you being so slow and holding up all the play? And it's almost just perceived to be like a really bad thing, like obviously pace of playing, especially like amateur golf as well. I just think it's like almost a bit, it can take away the enjoyment of the game a little bit.
For sure, mate. Yeah, definitely.
Can be. And I think the other element is, I think sometimes the slow play that we see at an amateur level is as a result of the slow play that we see at a professional level. Now, I know from watching some of, say, like the better juniors that are coming through, like the elite juniors, pre-shot routines and things like that have got longer and longer because the perception is tour pros do this. They take that amount of time. I want to be where they are, so I'm going to do the same. So if they watch Bryson DeChambeau take 2 minutes to hit an 8-foot putt, or they watch JB Holmes take 3 minutes to hit a shot over water into a par 5 because he's checking the wind, they are more inclined to watch it. And I think sometimes as coaches, if we're in a position where we're working with those people, we've got a responsibility to say, look, it's important to have a solid pre-shot routine and everything, but it needs to be within reason. And I think that, again, it's a fine line, because you're right, Tom. We don't want to start losing the enjoyment of the game by enforcing pace of play measures on people. That's not what we're trying to do. But at the same time, every golfer has a responsibility to make sure that they are playing at a reasonable pace.
I completely agree.
Yeah, definitely. And there's been comments from people as well who've said that at some golf courses, you have to put your time in. So when you hand your scorecard in for competitions, you have to put your time in. And it's similar to what the PGA are doing now with the slow players, is they've got that observation list. So obviously it's not public, you don't know who's on there, but it's going to be the likes of JB Holmes because he just takes an age to hit a golf shot.
Yeah.
And so these people are more likely to get called up on these sorts of things. And I think that's probably a good idea. If you're putting times down and you can say this player is consistently slower than a lot of the other players, then put them on that sort of list, and maybe there are, penalties for slow play, and that sort of thing is what is going to encourage people to play that little bit faster, play ready golf.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's a really interesting subject, and I think that was a really mature conversation we've just had there.
It's pretty good, wasn't it?
I know.
It's pretty good.
That's the most mature I've been in one stretch for an amount of time. I'm shattered.
It'd be interesting
to see the
to
effort
what-
on your face, really trying to hold it together.
I know.
It'd be interesting to see what everyone else thinks as well, won't it? Like,
Definitely.
let us know in the comments section, like obviously down below, what your opinions are of slow play, and have you been in that situation where you have been obviously held up by slow play, or vice versa? Have you been looking for a ball and felt pressurized while you're on the golf course?
Yeah.
That's very interesting to hear.
Yeah, lovely stuff. Tom, have we had any emails or questions this week?
We have indeed. Right, let me have a little look then. Let me get on my email. So let me just check. We have had an email in. It is from Tom Hacker Owen. So Tom Hacker Owen has put, "Hi guys, love the podcast." Great start to a question.
Yeah.
This is a question to Fields End. What is the greatest round you've ever seen, and why? And why was it Hackers round the Hodgkin at Woodhall Spa? I'm not too sure what that means. Also, how angry on a scale of 1 to 10 were you when you got 3 points for speeding on the way back from Open qualifying in Scotland? Hashtag drive for show, put for dough. Hope this makes it on. I'll be listening eagerly for episode 6. All the best, Hacker. Obviously, I don't know what that means too much, do you, Si?
I've got no idea.
So let's pass it over to Matt anyway.
Enlighten us, mate.
Tom is So Tom's a friend of mine from, we went to university together. So Tom Hacker Owen, I mean, it's in the name. He was known as maybe a little bit of a hacker in golfing terms. So the first part of that, and I'll be honest, I don't remember an awful lot about the round of golf from Woodhall Spa that he's referring to, other than I think maybe slightly out of character, and he won't mind me saying this, slightly out of character, he played really well that day. I seem to remember him making an eagle somewhere. And
mate, you said that he loves the podcast. Let's keep it that way.
He does love the podcast. He won't mind me getting into this. I think as well, he beat me on this day, which I think he loved to remind me of. So I think that's
why you've got points on your license from speeding away from the golf course then.
So yeah, the second part of this is a great story, to be honest. So we coincidentally, I think it would be about 5 years ago now, we both qualified for the final stage of qualifying for the Open Championship.
Oh, nice.
And we both got sent to Gales Links in Scotland. And I think he was maybe 3 or 4 groups ahead of me in the field. So he played 36 holes on that day. And I think in the morning, he hadn't had a great round. He'd shot 80 something, not great. And he'd driven up with a caddy, or his caddy had driven up with him. And between rounds, his caddy had kind of said to him, "Right, are we going to get off then? Are we just going to skip the second round and go home? You're not going to qualify for the Open." And obviously, in fair play to Tom, he was like, "Well, no, I've come all the way to Scotland. I want to play both rounds of Open qualifying.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to at least I want to at least try and shoot something under par in the afternoon, and make it respectable, a worthwhile journey.
Yep.
And his caddy's basically gone, no, I'm not sticking around for it. I'm off. So his caddy's just ditched him and just left him there.
Left him in Scotland.
Just left him in Scotland. He was like, I'm not walking around another round with you. I'm off.
So did his caddy drive him up?
His caddy drove him up.
And he's just left him.
Just left him at the golf course. He was like, I'm not sticking around for the second round. You're not going to qualify for the Open.
I hope it weren't one of his friends.
Well, I don't think he would be after that.
I know, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that relationship ended.
Let us know in the comment section below. I want to find out.
Yeah, let us know, actually. So obviously we've then played our second round in the afternoon, and we're sat having a drink afterwards. We went and watched the playoff because there was a player for the last couple of spots. And obviously he kind of says to me, look, I need to get home. And obviously I was living kind of in Tamworth at the time. So he's like, look, if you can get me back to New Street Station in Birmingham, that'd be great. So yeah, sound. But obviously it was quite late on that day, so I'd booked the hotel to stay that night and travel back in the morning.
Right, okay.
That's what we did. So he came back to my hotel, crashed at 9.
He's a smooth mover, isn't he? He had off a smooth mover.
Yeah, just took him back to my place.
Did you spend 4
hit the road
minutes
in the morning.
He had that headband on, he thought he was a bird.
Shit.
So we've got on the road in the morning, and we're on the, I can't remember what it is. It might have been the M74 or something coming out of Scotland.
Getting into detail.
And,
I know, yeah.
Driving.
It might be something like that. And I see in my mirror, I think it was a BM undercover police car, come off the slip road, straight behind me, lights on, pulls me over. God, here we go.
No.
So he's like, gives me the spiel of, we've got you from point A to point B in this mile stretch, averaging 86 point whatever.
Your car could go that fast.
Especially with 2 people in it.
It was a different car to the one you're thinking of. It was a newer car.
Oh, that's all right. I remember your old car, and I must be thinking of that one.
No, it wasn't that one. So ticket there, so £200 fine, 3 points. And what Tom didn't know at this point was 6 weeks previous, I'd got 3 points for speeding outside Beaudesert Golf Club. So this was like 6 points in 6 weeks.
Oh, you're dead eager. You must have had a bad stretch of golf. You've been dead eager to get away from them golf courses, mate.
It was painful. So we've gone back on the road, and I was that angry. I think we ended up stopping at a service station about half an hour later and got some food. And I remember Tom sitting across from me, just looking at me, going, "You're fuming, aren't you? You're fuming." I was like, "Yeah, just you're so angry right now." So that is essentially what happened.
Great story. Trip. Thank you so much for that, Tom. I'm so glad that you sent that in.
Yeah, I'm actually quite glad, because it is a brilliant story. But
it is a very good story.
It's taken me till this year for those points to finally disappear. So I've paid for it for a long time. Thanks for that, Tom.
Good stuff, mate. Good stuff.
So there you go. So that's that. Right, Tom, we'll move on to the next bit then. I believe it's your turn to do our Swing of the Week segment.
Swing of the Week. Almost
Swing of the
week, yeah.
Reach out to your phone and get that video. So Adam Johnson has sent in his video this week. So thank you very much for your swing, Adam. Now, important to mention, to be fair, he's pretty new to golf.
Yeah.
Starting to get into it. He played football for a long time, and he's really starting to get into golf, which is brilliant. So we'll be gentle. We won't go.
Tell you what, though, he does a lot of good things. Like,
a lot of good things.
He does a lot of good things during his swing.
Yeah, it really does.
Exactly. So yeah, go on then, get into it.
Looking at his swing now, in terms of the setup position, yeah, we could change the posture a little bit, get his hands a little bit higher, get him setting up a little bit different. But on the big one for me, obviously, just going into, he swings it pretty well on the way down. His path looks pretty good. The only thing that I'd change is that he looks like he tries to hit up on the ball quite a lot. Probably can see that a little bit for yourselves. And obviously, when he finishes, a lot of that weight is almost on that back right foot. For me, that could just cause a few problems in terms of contact on the golf ball. He might catch it slightly heavy. He might thin it a little bit. Could lead to the occasional top. But for me, if he just works on trying to get his pressure and his weight forwards through the shot, try and get that right foot pointing down towards the floor, it'll give him a great starting point and he'll be on his way. Because if he's a footballer as well, he'll fly. His handicap will fly down. He's got good hand-eye coordination. Does loads of good things. For me, if he just works on that little bit to start off with, and then obviously we could have a little look at it a little bit later on down the line. But on the whole, it wasn't bad at all. I thought he did a lot of good stuff during his swing. So
it's a good thing for amateurs as well, isn't it? That trying to get them to transfer the weight to the lead side. It's almost like an alien movement, isn't it? You sort
it's
of
different because there's no other sport to get the ball to go in the air. Do you want to go forwards? Do you know what I mean? Usually you think, well, I've got to get it in the air, so I need to try and lift it into the air. Obviously in golf, because of the loft you got on your club, you don't have to worry about that, do you? So it's a little bit different.
Let your club do the
on
work.
The whole, he does loads of good stuff.
Yeah, 100%. And like you say, that is, Adam, you're not on your own with that one. That is a fault that the three of us see all the time with, particularly like you say, with newer golfers. Natural instinct for them is trying to get the ball in the air, leaning back to try and do that. So that is a common flaw. So yeah, just a little bit of posture work, stand a little bit taller, hands a little higher, and then just try and focus on getting the weight into the left side, and you will improve dramatically.
He'll get massively better. So
because you can see he generates some speed. So if you use it in the right way, it'll be well away.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Perfect. Love it. Right. Last section then, boys. Looking forward to WGC match play this week. I love this event.
Yeah, me too.
Absolutely love match play week.
So before getting into this though, Matt, I don't actually understand the point scoring system for this. Do you want to? No, I don't get it.
Do you understand the point scoring system anyway, bro, for the normal ones?
Usually I just let it go and just pick one.
It's really not that difficult. Look, we'll put the scoring system here so that you can all see it. But just to kind of make it easy, you still get 10 points for winning, but the points go down based on how far into the competition they go. Because obviously you've got the group stage round and then last 16, quarters, semis, and then into the final. So the points get lower based on how far.
That makes sense. That makes sense. You got it now, bro.
Is that all right?
It doesn't matter anyway. I'm getting the 10 points this week, so it's all good. It's all I need to know.
Every single week. Every week.
You've got to have the optimism, haven't you?
You've got to admire the confidence.
Yeah.
Well, look, we're at Austin Country Club this week in Texas. Brilliant match play golf course.
Yeah.
Got reachable par fives, drivable par fours. Always make for great viewing in a match play event.
Definitely.
Obviously, with it being in Texas, it can get quite windy. So that is something to look out for. Perhaps need a golfer that can control their ball flight well in the wind. Might be something to look out for.
Yeah.
So if we jump into it then, Simon, who have you gone for this week?
So this week, I know that match play is a completely different beast. It's a different kettle of fish. And so I'm going to go for someone a little bit more experienced. He's been on a good run of form. Like you say, it gets windy around there anyway. Lots of bunkers, lots of deep bunkers as well. So his bunker play is on point. I'm going to go for Paul Casey. He's done well there in the past. He's come runner-up twice. A bit more of a veteran on tour and knows what it takes to win a match play match. So I think that he could do well.
I think that's a pretty solid pick. It's always a lottery this week because, I mean, you can look through, I've got all the brackets here, and you can go down them, and they're really difficult to pick a winner out of. I mean, some of them, you've got Hatton, Westwood, Garcia, Wallace all in a group together. That's a really tough one. Schauffele, Scotty Scheffler, Jason Day, Andy Sullivan. Another tough one. Justin Thomas, Louis Oosthuizen, Kevin Kisner, Matt Kuchar. You know, you could go through all of them and you could make a case for for any one of them to get through. And
Definitely.
I think the interesting thing this week is not always the lowest seed golfer in that group will get through, because you can have matches where you can shoot 6 under and lose, but equally we've seen matches where 1 over par has been good enough to beat a guy that's just really struggled on that day. So
yeah,
it's always interesting to see what results are going to get.
that's why it
thrown
makes
up.
it so interesting to watch and so good to watch as well, because you just never know who's
Exactly.
going to come out on top.
Exactly. So being as though none of us know who's going to come out on top, Tom, who have you gone for?
I'm still changing my mind as who to pick here.
Oh, hang on.
I know. I
was
thought
so
I
sure
had
before we
someone,
started
and then I thought,
recording.
you know what? You spoke about drivable par 4s and some par 5s.
I'm glad you've
And
done your
it made
homework
me
this
think
week.
about Bryson. And then I thought, do I stick to what I've gone for currently with Jordan Spieth?
Well, look, we're going to have to, without sounding like a game show, we're going to have to press you for time. We're going to need an answer.
I'm going to go Bryson.
Oh, of course you are.
Because, I mean, you talked me into it now.
Wow.
Like, then I was thinking, win Jordan Spieth. He's going to dunk it in water and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, if there's any bit of wind up there, he's going to struggle. Whereas Bryson, he can hit the green off the tee.
Can we get that in quotation marks? He's going to dunk it in water and stuff.
Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm going to go Bryson. I've gone for him.
Fair play, mate. Fair play.
No, I'm sorry, you've bottled it.
Yeah,
I'm going Bryson. I haven't bottled it. I just think, you know what? He's going to do better.
I hope you get slammed in the comments
Great form as well.
predictability again.
Matt, I'm so sorry, mate, but the only comments are going to be about your headband, bro. So he doesn't need to worry about that.
I need a haircut. I need the barbers to open.
Hashtag lockdown trip.
Oh, having said that, I think Tom's hiding his horrendous barnet under that hat as well, ain't you?
Cap's all right though, mate. You can hide away with a cap on.
Yeah, me. Well, look, let's get back onto golf-related
Who are
subjects.
you going for? Who are you going for?
I've gone for Victor Hovland.
Yeah, see that.
So obviously a player that's found a lot of form this year already. Couple of near misses. And I think obviously we're going to see Victor Hovland in the European Ryder Cup team, it looks like. And I think from his college days, he's got good match play pedigree. So I'm expecting a good week from him. I mean, I've gone through, and you can print this out on the PGA Tour website. They do a fantasy bracket list where you can literally predict every round of the event all the way through to you get a champion. So if people want to have a go doing that, that's quite good.
Was it you or Si?
I was just about to say, where's the nerd award?
I had a lot of fun doing that.
That's more worrying than actually doing it. The fact you've had so much fun.
I like golf, okay? That's why we've got a golf podcast.
I like golf.
Kind of the point. Well, look, I think we've got 3. Well, I'd got on my notes that you were picking Jordan Spieth. So I was going to say we've got 3 good picks, and then you've dropped a bombshell and you've changed your mind and gone Bryson. So.
After you started talking about drivable par 4s and par 5, it's just made me think.
As soon as you hear drivable, you're like,
I'd be mad not to.
Bryson's going to do it.
Bryson. And match play as well. You know what Bryson's like in match play?
No, I don't actually.
I don't actually, yeah.
He's just going to do well. I just can feel it.
Back to your normal level of stats.
Cutting edge technical information.
No stats involved this week. He's just going to do it.
Oh, proper gut decision that was, wasn't it?
Yeah, just flipped it on its head.
Good stuff.
Well, look, I personally hope you're wrong, but look, so that concludes this week's podcast, guys. It's been another really good one. Really enjoyable. Before we go, really important to mention, if you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram. We'll put all the links in the description below. And of course, any comments that you want to send in to us, you can either do it in the comments under the video or you can email them in to us. Tom, can you remember our email address?
Puttingitstraightpodcast@gmail.com.
Oh, lovely. What a guy. I'm so proud of
Tell
you.
you what. And get your swings across as well. Get
Definitely.
your swings in. Get
Yes,
your chance
we
to have a look at
need-
your swing.
We need another swing for next week's segment. So
Yeah.
any
What about the
volunteers?
hacker? Get the hacker to send his swing in.
Yeah.
Try and get Tom to send his swing in.
Get the hacker swing across.
Tom, if you're watching, we want your swing. Come on, get it in. We want to see it. But look, it's been brilliant. Thanks ever so much for watching again, guys, and we will see you next time. Thank you.
See you later, guys. I'll get that headband off before
Here
you
it
pass out.
comes. Oh my goodness. In your life have you seen anything like that? There it is. A win for the ages.